Okay, I think we're just going to kick it off and get straight started. So hello and welcome to Her Roomies. My name is Victoria Bennett, and today we are going to be hearing about the first rental accommodation site for Her and their upcoming capital raise. If you have any questions, if you have a look at the bottom left of your screen, you'll see there's a comment box on the screen, and we'll make sure we answer them before the end of the session. First off, I'm going to introduce the two leads of the business, Chiara and Nick.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Nick.
Hi, Chiara. Thank you, Chiara. I was going to say, Chiara Fraser is the co-founder of Her Roomies with a first in business studies from Heriot-Watt University. Chiara has focused on experiential marketing through large-scale events and community building in the UAE. Chiara's focus is the brand, community, and product development. And Nick Fraser is also co-founder of Her Roomies with more than 35 years real estate experience. Nick has invested and developed in most asset classes, including residential and student housing. Nick's focus is Her Roomies business development strategy. Now, what I'd love to hear is, I know we've got some attendees joining us. There's a couple of different places. Some are joining us live on this webinar, and some people are joining us through Facebook. And you'll probably see me looking down at my phone. I apologize for that, but it's just for me to keep an eye on the Facebook people. What I'd like you to do is, ask your questions, and Facebook people, you can ask your questions on Facebook. I'll make sure they get through. But I'd like you to actually add into the chat right now what you hope to get out of the session. And then that way I can make sure that we actually cover it. So just pop into the chat what you're looking for, and we'll make sure that we answer those questions. Chiara, I believe you have a presentation for our attendees.
I do. Looking forward to presenting to you all. Let me just quickly get it up, and if you could just confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, perfect.
Great. Right. Well, thank you everyone for being here this afternoon. I'm Chiara, I'm the co-founder. As Victoria mentioned, we are Her Roomies, and Her Roomies is the first accommodation rental platform and community for women. So what are the challenges that women face when looking for a new rental home? There's quite a few. Before Her Roomies, there was no platform that existed with all rental accommodation typologies on one single space. So a lot of time was wasted by women going from platform to platform and website to website because they just didn't have one consolidated space. And a lot of time was wasted not only doing the research, but also then making the multiple reservation requests across these different platforms. We also noticed that there was no single focus sales marketing channel for landlords who really wanted to engage with female tenants, such as, for example, a girl who's looking to share solely with a girl, but also with corporate landlords who have a large portion of the demographic being female tenants. There's also a large issue with incompatible roommates. So with more than 30% of all sharing homes, flat sharing situations being female sharing only, a lot of the girls are finding themselves in situations where they're with incompatible roommates because there was no platform that kind of matched them and helped them through this compatibility. It's also clear that no other rental platform offers add-on services outside of the pure rental moment. And so this really did not help build a community for women outside of just the pure rental transaction. And there's a lot of scammers and unreliable landlords and inaccurate listings on different platforms. So we really wanted to create a solution that would change all of this. And it is called Her Roomies. Rooms, flats, and flatmates for her. It is the first accommodation rental platform where women are no longer a filter. They are the protagonists. It is the first platform with all rental typologies on one single safe space for her. We have flatmate matching technology and more, add-on services and technology which really enhance the female rental experience. It is a female-focused ecosystem, rental ecosystem, and community. And for landlords, it is a unique opportunity to be able to engage with their female tenants through a focused and segmented marketing sales channel. All in all, with one click, all her rental needs are met on Her Roomies. We speak to a really wide audience, and we accompany her through her full lifetime rental journey, from the moment she leaves home for the first time to the moment she no longer needs to rent. We have student residences, rooms in shared apartments or flats, homestays for girls that are looking to live with local families, co-livings, and whole apartments. We even list hostels for women who want to do short stays on weekends or maybe want a space to stay in while they look at the different rental opportunities when they come into the city. So we really engage with women from the moment that they leave home, which means we're talking to a demographic from 18 to anywhere up to 50 and above. And we're speaking to a huge addressable market. Sometimes people think women, they think niche, think small, but this is not true. It is a huge market with over 264 million of women as a total addressable market in both Europe and the USA. 50% of all tenants globally are females. And as I mentioned before, 30% of all shared accommodation is female only. So we are really the only, first and only accommodation rental platform that addresses this huge potential market opportunity. Our global market positioning is very clear. We are the first and only focused accommodation rental platform and marketplace for women. There are many other generic accommodation marketplaces and classified listings. But what really makes us different is that we're able to engage with females from a young age, and therefore our long-term customer lifetime value is much higher than any other platform because she can come to us time and time again throughout her full rental life. And we build a community around it, which is very, very different to what any other platform offers. And as you can see here, doesn't matter where we place this globally, we have no direct competitors. Nobody else is doing what we're doing. We have first mover advantage in this space. And because of this, we also know that we are extremely scalable. Wherever there's a mature rental market and wherever there are women, i.e. globally, we can be there to assist her during her rental experience and offer this rental solution to her. What we do is we've created a rental ecosystem and solution through add-on services that really cater to the female needs and wants when looking for a new home, to technology integrations. Some of these features are really interesting. They include, for example, Match Her, the roommates compatibility tool, which will allow females to find compatible roommates and compatible listings on the website so that they can move in and live with people that they get along with in a home that they have chosen based on algorithm. We have Home Checker, which is a verification tool. This will add an additional layer of safety and security for women. We verify not only the homes, but also the landlords to make sure that when they're renting, they know they're renting from a secure platform. Her Hub, a digital hub, which ultimately will become also physical in different cities. So we call it Phygital, where women can interact with each other, gain access to services and discounts, and really help us enhance our community across the cities, not only with the tenants, but also with the industry partners and citywide partners that are wanting to engage females. Room Swapper, a unique tool that will allow women to swap rooms from city to city across different countries, again, engaging with a large database, building our database and creating a community globally. And then, of course, Helper, a very unique add-on feature, which I think most women really appreciate from a feedback, which is a move-in concierge. So a female can come to us, maybe she's moving internationally, and can ask us for assistance in opening a bank account, helping with health insurance, setting up the internet. So it's really about catering to her. And then, of course, we have an important side, which is the technology integration. And here we have things such as digital contracts, ID verification for, again, enhanced security, and digital security deposits. So all in all, we really created an ecosystem for her. Our business model goes beyond our revenues. There is an upselling and cross-selling future opportunities where we really see a room for growth. We want to become a lifestyle brand for her. So what Her Roomies does is, with this rental ecosystem, also allows add-on features and add-on partners to really engage with us and really create a seamless experience where she can find other things when she's coming on to rent her new home, such as shopping, dining, F&B, events, travel, and the list goes on and on. This kind of puts into show how different we really are. Here are some of the biggest platforms, both in the UK and in Spain. And as you can see, we have very differentiated offerings, and we are completely different to what's currently in the market. Our business model is a two-sided marketplace with fees from both the landlords and the tenants. And we can talk about these later on if there's any questions, but it's based on a commission structure, both from the landlord on success and from the tenant as an admin service fee. Overall, Her Roomies would take about a 9% of commission from the transaction. Here are some key financial highlights and projections. this is for Spain alone, as currently our initial raise is for consolidation in Spain. Our net revenue, as you can see, grow very well year on year. And we have been very careful with the projections and use numbers that we believe are very achievable and based on metrics that we have gathered in the last year. Our projection for the UK and EU growth is also, as you can see, huge. As I mentioned, scalability with Her Roomies is substantial. In 2022, we expect to be in Spain and the UK testing with our different partners that we're going to be engaging with. By 2023, we expect to be in Spain, UK, Ireland, Portugal, Italy, and France. 2024 includes Spain, UK, Ireland, Italy, France, Belgium, Austria, and Germany. In 2025, we would then add Norway and Sweden. And by 2026, we would be looking to enter the USA also. So as you can see, the projections are quite large in terms of potential addressable market and revenues. Now, the last year, we have been doing a beta testing product. We wanted to be able to go to market with something that we know has traction and that we can prove it. Our site visitors have increased. Actually, now we're at the end of January. We've reached 100,000 website users. We have around 10,000 unique monthly users on the website. And we've achieved a rental request value of over 700,000 euros. So we know that we have completed our MVP and beta testing product, and we are now able to begin monetizing and to really enter the market. Our team is comprised of Nick and I. My background, as Victoria says, is very different. We complement each other very well. We both have different strengths in our different industries. And we have a strong team of both investors who to date have committed and believe in Her Roomies and in our vision, and also our advisory board members who are a strong group of women, all in different fields and industry, who really help us understand the potential for growth and really make a very huge impact in our team membership. So we're very happy to have them. As I mentioned, we're raising 200,000 euros at the moment for this first milestone to be able to consolidate in Spain. We currently have 135,000 euros already committed, and we are offering a convertible loan. Our use of funds will be distributed, as you can see here, and again, you'll have access to the deck at any point so that you can go through all of the different figures that we've gone over. And the investment deployment milestones, the plan for how we plan on deploying these next 200,000 euros. For the first part, we will refresh the website, engage key talent who will join us in the team, consolidate in Spain, and as I mentioned, start entering the UK market with a very strong strategy and testing it. We would then look to raise 300,000, so an additional 100,000, which would help us develop the website further, do some more product development, and again, enter the UK and the EU expansion properly. And then 600,000, which would allow us to really engage the EU expansion plan and add additional key talent, as well as our technology. So all of our different milestones will help us target different aspects of the growth, and we are very excited about this next stage. Getting a return on your investment, there are several ways you could do this. You can go through these once we share the deck, as I'm sure you'll be interested in knowing the ROI and how you can do it. And why invest in Her Roomies? First of all, our different USPs and the fact that we have the first mover advantage. We have a unique selling proposition, and we're engaging in a large addressable market that nobody else is doing. We have proven market fit, 15 months of beta testing. We have demonstrated market fit both in Spain and across the EU, since we already work with UK partners in Germany, Holland, and Portugal. So we know that there's a demand there from the tenant and the landlord side. We have proven metrics, 15 months of metrics that demonstrate the viability and the huge potential for the females-focused accommodation rental platform and our Her Roomies offering. And then, of course, the team, a unique team that is leading the growth of Her Roomies, and we possess a clear vision as to where we would like to be and how we plan to get there. So overall, Her Roomies is a unique accommodation rental platform with first mover advantage in its category and a target market of over 50% of all renters globally. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Chiara, for presenting today. And hopefully everybody got a really good overview of the business. And I've just added in, I can see we've got lots of people joining us today. So really appreciate it. Just ask your questions into the chat. As I mentioned, I'm also looking down and having a look at the questions that are coming through on Facebook. So we make sure we get everyone's questions answered. One interesting one that's come through. What feedback have you had from users to date? Because the 100,000, you've certainly got a lot of users out there.
Yeah. Well, we have different feedback from the different sides of the market. So from the users, from the tenant side, we've got incredible feedback. We have girls writing to us saying, "We're so happy we found something like you. You know, we can't believe it didn't exist before. We've moved countries so many times. We wish we had this happen too." So from a user perspective, in terms of the tenants, it's been really, really, really positive. But I don't think we were expecting so many women to actually engage with us and send us these kind of messages. We feel really safe for you. We're so happy to have found you. And from a landlord perspective, it's also been extremely positive because I don't think we had realized initially when we launched just how big of a demographic most of these landlords, how big a female demographic most of these landlords are engaging with. Specifically with our corporate part, a lot of them have told us, 50% or more, in some cases 60% of all our tenants who sign contracts with us are women. And this can be one of the things that when we talk about addressable market, we always say with Her Roomies, we're not only speaking to the renters themselves, we're speaking to the community around them. So for example, in a traditional household, it might be the man who ends up paying, but it is a lot of the time the woman who goes out and chooses the home. And so a lot of the time it is the female who is initiating the contracts for these homes and leases. So we've had an incredible response. We are aware, that there is improvements that can be made to the website, and that's why we're here looking to raise money to do those improvements. And we believe that, we can grow and add new features that can really help enhance the whole rental ecosystem. But overall, it's been really, really great response from both parties.
That's fantastic to hear. I've got a question here from Victor, and I'm just going to give a bit of context. You're looking to raise initially 200,000 euros, 300,000 euros is your next milestone, and 600,000 to complete all the activities you've got planned. Actually, he's put another question in, so we'll have to do the other one as well. So, but and you've raised 130K already towards that 200K from your lead investors, and some very notable ones I would comment on as that. And Victor's question, is there a minimum ticket for investment?
So we're going to start crowdfunding. So as a direct investor, the minimum ticket was 5,000 euros. However, we're going to crowdcube so that we can open up the investments to anybody, to retail investors, to people like you and I, anybody. And there's a minimum of 10 euros. So if you believe in the project and you believe in the concept and you want to get involved, you can invest as little as 10 euros and anything above. So that is the minimum ticket, unless you're coming directly, as the rest of our investors have been. I would also like to add that actually we have now reached 140,000 euros in investment. We closed it.
That's excellent news. And just, one thing on that. This is a way to engage your community, and you already, you're building a nice community. So your users who, stretch from students right the way up, as you say, it's the whole lifespan for women. Anybody can just, put a little bit in, but of course you can put more in. So which I think almost answers your next question, Victor, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is the 200K being sought in addition to the 1,235K already raised?
Not in addition, but we are hoping to reach a 200,000 euro milestone. So the 140, so we're looking to raise another 60 roughly. And then we would, move on to the next milestone. So the way the crowdfunding campaign is, essentially we would like to raise the whole 600, but we understand that, it's quite a large investment and there are different milestones that we want to be able to target and reach. So it wouldn't be an addition to, it's just an overall 200,000, of which we already have 140 committed.
And then really your goal is 600K, but let's just tell it how it is. one of the things that we've been asked is, what is more difficult, getting tenants or landlords? And, what are you doing to attract?
Yeah.
More difficult.
Yes, it's an excellent question. We get asked this question many, many times, and justifiably so. So we have two types of tenants. We have the corporate side of the corporate tenants, so anything from student housing to co-living, build to rent, and your private landlords, or let's say head leaseholders who have sharing situations. So in terms of corporate landlords, those are basically direct contacts from people we know in the industry, we know directly, or via our investors, current investors, or advisory board members. So we have excellent outreach. And when we go and present Her Roomies to our corporate landlords, they're very excited about the possibility, as Chiara explained before. And so when we sign up these corporate landlords, typically we will sign up anything from 300 units to 5,000 units in the case of student housing at a time. So we get critical mass with corporate landlords. On the private landlord side, obviously it's a lot more granular, and that requires us reaching out via paid marketing and social media networks. We've achieved all that we've achieved today with a very relatively small marketing budget. So actually a very small marketing budget, and so we're very confident with more higher marketing budget, we can actually extend that. One of the things that we've noticed is that we're very quickly growing our SEO reach. People are starting to know about Her Roomies as a female accommodation rental brand, and that with that will grow word of mouth. With that will grow our user base, and we've seen that in the last couple of months. That's been happening very quickly. And just to kind of point that out, we have users. We market currently only in Spain at the moment, but we have users from over 176 countries. That's not 176 nationalities in Spain. Those are 176 countries around the world: Asia, Africa, South America, Central America, Africa, and Europe. And so those people are reaching us, obviously, because they're looking out for female-focused rental accommodation. So we see the granular private landlord side growing very quickly. On the tenant side, we have fantastic metrics in terms of tenants arriving at the website, and that's word of mouth between females saying, "Go and look at Her Roomies," and they message each other on social media networks. So we're very happy with both, and I hope I've answered your question.
No, that's a good one. I mean, you've really proved out the demand there, and I'll just speak personally. I know my niece was got to university in Manchester, and there was no accommodation, and she was getting very stressed. And I said, "Well, have a look on Her Roomies," and she found this fabulous flat, in Manchester in the UK, when everything else was full. So, that was, I think this speaks to the sort of volume, and she had choices as well, which was good. Excellent. So regarding the anchor investors, are they from the sector? Another question from the crowd.
Yeah, I think, I'll answer that one. Yes, I mean, our anchor investors are senior seasoned real estate executives from the private equity real estate sector. They also involve people from the M&A sector, telecom sector. We have an investor who is now a software and prop tech investor, and was very involved in the late 90s and early 2000s in launching telecoms companies in Spain, very successfully sold out. And we have other investors who may not necessarily be directly involved in real estate, but work within real estate companies and contexts. So we have people on the technical side, construction, project management, as I said, merger and acquisition, private equity real estate, direct real estate, and real estate advisory. So very kind of real estate and tech focused initial lead investors on board.
Perfect. And what do you perceive as your biggest risk? Getting some great questions coming in.
I think the only risk we really perceive is we have to date built a barrier to entry. We've built a brand, we've established ourselves, and we have a community of over 4,000 registered users. And as Nick said, people are recognizing us now and looking for us. I think, being able to grow as fast as we would like and establish ourselves further is probably going to be the biggest challenge that we see. Not necessarily a challenge that can't be achieved, especially because we've been doing it with such a small marketing budget. And so, as a startup, we've already got so far. I think, just making sure that we stay ahead of the game, understanding our competitors and being able to, be agile and if needed pivot. But I don't see any other challenge, to be honest, because we're creating something that isn't existing yet, and we see the great need. And so we're just taking customer feedback and making sure that as much as possible, we're able to, enhance the experience where we can and keep growing the business. So
I think I would like to add as well, the achievements that we've achieved to date in terms of our metrics were achieved during the middle of a pandemic. So if we can achieve these in the middle of a pandemic, can you just imagine what we can achieve when the pandemic hopefully kind of goes away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another question from another few questions. Golly, they're coming in. Is there a key woman dependency?
Sorry, it does it mean? I'm not sure what the question means exactly.
I was going to say. You want to, golly, there are so many questions coming in at the same time. It's fabulous. Do you, Victor, do you want to just extrapolate on that question just to help Chiara out here? Is there key woman dependency on a small team? So this relates to your other question. How many people are in the team? So,
okay.
Yes. Is there a key woman dependency? So dependency on a small team.
Sorry, does it mean that sorry, I think it's the question, is it only going to be a female team running it, or?
I think it's, often in the business world, they say a key man dependency, like if one person gets run over by a bus, but somebody's being very respectful and saying key woman dependency. I think I interpret that correctly. Yeah, so basically looking at the team size, etc.
Right. I mean, currently, we have a relatively small team, but that we've dedicated full time to Her Roomies. We do have quite a few external partners that help us in different aspects, because at this time, there's only so much that we can afford in terms of full time staff. But we have it's Nick and I, and we have a technology advisor who's full time with us. We also have a marketing agency who does all of this marketing strategy and content creation. And we have, of course, legal and financial personnel.
We have one full-time CRM at the moment as well.
Yes. So we also have 3 interns who work with us. So, I mean, the team is big enough. And luckily, because we kind of founded this ourselves, Nick and I both know enough about the business that we're not dependent on each other. I mean, we both can run it and kind of have a full overview of most of the things happening, along with, of course, having the team members that we have that help us grow the business on a daily basis.
But I mean, I think that also, just to go further, part of the raise from our current capital raise fundraising is to grow the team and the talent. We will only bring on the talent when we have visibility in terms of the business developing. So we're not going to have, heavy personnel costs early on. So we're very prudent. And luckily, one of our lead investors is also a very senior HR executive who's also giving us some help on that. So one of the things that I just like on that point is that everybody that's invested today in terms of lead investors contributes in some way from their specialization. So they're not passive investors. They're investors who contribute and add value to the process. But of course, we will be building our team, and we will be doing that from part of the raise that we're now undertaking.
Excellent. Ali is asking, is there a risk that a big real estate portal will copy Her Roomies and set up a subsidiary focused on females?
I think the risk is that they come and buy us when we're very successful. So, and that's not a risk. I think that's actually positive. No, I think most of the big portals are too busy doing what they're doing at the moment. So it really makes no sense to dilute their value proposition. They'd have to defocus. So I think what will happen ultimately is that we will get to our critical mass of covering Europe and hopefully entering the USA, and eventually one of the big big global players will come and acquire us. They'll want a female vertical with a huge database that we have, and they will keep our brand and develop it from there. That's a potential exit looking 5-10 years down the line. But I don't see any particular risk of the large players doing it. It doesn't make any sense to them. They have a lot.
Well, and isn't it, a lot of it is just the way that they do things is so different. So it's usually like a ticky box thing, sort of how many bedrooms you want, how many bathrooms. Whereas you're using your algorithm, it's much more intelligent.
But I think more than that is, we're completely different to any other platform out there because we're building a community. As Chiara quite correctly pointed out earlier on, that all the other platforms are single transactional based, they want that one transaction, choose your property, pay your fee, and then hopefully you'll come back again, but you're not part of a community. We're building a community around our users so they stay with us. And that is a game changer because no rental platform, marketplace, or classified website builds a community. Not only are we planning, we have one. We already have 4,000 registered users, and that's just going to grow, astronomically as we cover more European territories. So I hope that answers the question.
It actually almost answers my next question from Anna, and thank you for asking it. How many active users do you have, and can you measure the user life cycle?
Yes, I'll let Chiara answer that one.
In terms of active, we have around 10,000. It ranges between 8,000 to 10,000 unique monthly users. And as Nick mentioned, we actually have more than 4,000 registered users. So, on a daily basis, the active users goes between 300 to 400, 500, 600. It depends on the day. What was the second part of the question? Sorry.
And can you measure the user life cycle?
I think we have a lot of data, but I think we were expecting at first a lot more of, let's say, the younger crowd to come onto Her Roomies. And what we actually experienced at first when we first launched specifically was that a lot of the 30 to 45-year-olds were engaging. I think what we've seen in our platform is the majority of our user base is between about 23 to 36. That is the largest portion. And then, of course, we have the students. But in the case of the students, a lot of the time it is the mothers who are helping the students move out for the first time and choose their accommodation. So actually, I think we've seen quite a large number of age demographic, which are the mothers looking for the daughters. Of course, we've only been around for a year. So, millennials, Gen Zs, most people tend to move every 2 or 3 years. So we haven't been around long enough to be able to have, let's say, the next time they move yet. But what we can see is demographic of 18 to 60-year-olds coming on for whatever reason they're there or whatever rental typologies they're in search of at that stage of their life.
Another data point, very important, is that of our registered tenants, 99.7% are female. So we're completely and totally zeroing in on our target audience in terms of tenants, female tenants. Landlords, obviously, we're agnostic, but in terms of the tenants, we're 99.7% female, which is great news because it means that our marketing strategy is working and we're attracting the right gender demographic.
And I think what Chiara was saying earlier about your competition is very transactional, whereas you're building a community. And so if people have this amazing experience, they're going to come back time and time again. And so that customer lifetime value is going to be far greater. Anybody was going to be looking at Her Roomies first before they look anywhere else. So, and especially if they're an investor. And I think that sort of also speaks to why it's so important to go down the crowdfunding route, so that you have as many investors as possible who will then always want to back the company that they own their little bit of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that will be really interesting in the database that we build, is that we will see, this customer, let's say, growth and different demographics and how they interact and their needs. So I think it'll be a really interesting database, not only of females, but also of different age groups and their usage.
Victor's asked another question in this space. So understanding it's a bit early in the life of Her Roomies, what is the expected lifetime value per user?
So I think we're expecting our users. So typically, as Chiara mentioned, our target demographic will move probably once every 2 years. And if we're saying that we're looking at, a female age range of, let's say, 18 to 40, put it that way. So we're looking at around kind of potentially 10 moves before they end up, assuming they end up buying somewhere. And of those 10 moves, we would assume that we would be able, we'd love to get all 10, but let's kind of be more prudent. And let's say we get half of them. So we get 5 of those 10 moves. And on average, a transaction generates for us around 170 euros per transaction. That's revenue per customer. And so we would expect that to be 4 or 5 times. So probably in the kind of upper 7, 8, between 700 and 1,000 euros per customer, assuming they came back 4 or 5 times.
Excellent. So, and I mean, I think if you're able to sort of realize that and start to see that happening in the next couple of years, well, it'll be a year now because you've been up and running for a year. That will really solidify that number. Douglas has asked a great question. What financial or contractual tort liability, Douglas, are you a lawyer, I wonder, do you have with landlords and tenants, and how do you manage this risk? I am thinking, for example, where your vetting process falls short.
I mean, first of all, in terms of a vetting process, we ask landlords to, we don't go into too much detail during this, otherwise it becomes very technical. But we're a platform, so we provide information. We don't guarantee anything, so it's caveat emptor. At the end of the day, the customer has to be happy and check themselves. So what we do is facilitate information. So in terms, for example, of a landlord, where we ask the landlord to upload their ID, that ID will be verified by a third party as being a true identification document. And prior to any money being transacted or coming through the platform to the landlord, and we're talking about private landlords in this case, the bank account details have to triangulate with the ID and some evidence of the ownership of the property, or at least residence in the property, with utility bills. So we provide the information. We don't guarantee that. We do to the best of our ability that information is true and has been checked by a third party. But we're not a letting agent. We're a transactional marketplace platform. And at the end of the day, the landlord has to be happy with the information we've provided on the tenant, and vice versa.
Fantastic. Hopefully, Douglas, that answered your question. Ula is saying, all my questions are being answered here. Thanks. So that's great to hear.
Thank you, Ula.
And I just want to give a shout out. She's already spreading the word on Facebook groups such as Female Digital Nomads, and the response is very positive. And so thank you very much, Ula. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And feel free to share these webinars with that group or any group that you're also connected to. I think one of the key things here is really getting the word out. So, we'd love you all to be investors, but we'd also love you just to share the campaign as well. Okay. Just checking all the other ones. And I was about to sneeze. Everyone's always paranoid about sneezing in this world.
You're not going to catch COVID on a webinar.
I think it's question if we possible to get the presentation. Absolutely. So for everybody who has registered, for the live webinar, you'll get a follow-up email. It'll actually have the recording of this, and we'll also have the presentation deck as well. And then for everybody watching this on Facebook, what we'd recommend you do is come on, sign up to get our emails, and then you'll get those, because we need to know who you are. So anybody watching us on Facebook, please try and sign up so that we can actually send you the presentation too. Excellent. If we don't have any more questions.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much again for joining our webinar today. I know it's the middle of the day, and we really appreciate the support and interest in Her Roomies. We're very excited about it. So we'll hopefully see you as one of our Crowdcube investors. And either way, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, and I would say if you are looking to invest more than 5K, then, just reply straight away to that email, and Nick and Chiara can speak to you offline. And also, like you were saying, Ulla, if you want us to do a webinar or something like this just for a specific group or have a one-on-one, let us know. We want to make sure that everybody's sort of, this is, as you can see, this is a company that within a year has had incredible traction, but the potential is huge too. And so, if you've got any questions, we'd love to answer those for you. Or say if you've got a group, we'd love to set something up for you. Okay, so the Her Roomies campaign is coming up this February. So it's the last day of January. So guess what's tomorrow? Campaign's not launching tomorrow, but we're not far away. On Crowdcube. Now, Crowdcube is a European-wide equity crowdfunding platform, and the rules have just changed, which mean that there's you can invest from, I think it's 37 different countries now, but including Spain, the UK, and you'll see on their website all the different places where you can invest from. Make sure you have signed up. I said, get onto that email list, because you will then get early access to invest. And as you can see, that first milestone is 60K. So as every time I speak to these two, it seems to be shrinking. So if you want to get into that early access, make sure you sign up. And you can also keep up to date with all the news from Her Roomies. So, we also have a request for Spanish. We're just waiting for the Spanish government to sign one piece of documentation, and then everything will be in Spanish as well. Not sure about the webinars. We might have to find out a cunning plan of how to do those, because my Spanish is rather limited. But we will work out a way of making that happen. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for attending today. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you, Chiara and Nick, for joining us today. I think we've had an excellent session, and wish you every success with your raise.
Thank
you very much. Thank you, everybody, and thanks, Victoria, for comparing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.